Show it, man!
Right now, the Hawk is sunning his feathers in the Spanish heat, smacking everyone in the gut that I meet. So gracias, señorita, for this brick. Let me hit you with it and get on with today's video quick. As you've probably gathered by now, I'm taking a break. This has absolutely nothing to do with the money you donated to Barood. I promise you, it might seem like strange timing, but get that thought out your nut. Everything is on the up and up, like a fist to the chin and uppercut. So try not to be too offended when the Hawk doesn't reply to your comment. I'm just taking my first break from YouTube since I started doing this. Today we will look at Wrestling Society X in detail and we will cover the first 3 episodes. We can't do it all at once because there's a lot to see and talk about. Lots of wrestlers you'll be familiar with, lots of squawking points, and it gives me Lucha Underground vibes, to be honest. First then, the backstory. So let me take you back to 2007, a time when everything felt good. You'd get home from school and sit there watching music videos. The internet wasn't big then, there wasn't anything else to do. And one of the channels you would probably watch is MTV, who I'm sure had a big part in most of my viewers' lives. They played music videos, but they also ran shows with an adult theme, things like Jackass and Beavis and Butthead. MTV created Wrestling Society X. This would be a 30-minute show from a bunker in Los Angeles, with a gritty feel, over-the-top cinematics, and they would make use of musical artists at their disposal, because they were primarily a music station, and they saw potential to sweep up fans who were fans of wrestling and music. MTV demanded that their main talents were signed to exclusive contracts, which probably meant some of the wrestlers were put off from working for them, especially as TNA was starting to gain traction and WWE had recently expanded to 3 shows of ECW. MTV also wanted this show to be batshit crazy, but not include anything that kids could copy at home, like punching and kicking. But they were okay with explosions as kids couldn't create them easily. At the time of the show, a lot of people viewed it as a joke, but it does have a cult following nowadays. So let's stop talking and make our minds up. Your commentary team are Brett Ernst and Chris Kloss, and I've heard nothing but bad stuff about their commentary, so I'll be sure to mention any highlights. There will be a 10-man Royal Rumble match tonight, ending with a ladder match to determine their first ever champion. We cut to the ring where a bold man is very excited. He says the show will not start with a whimper, but with a bang, and an explosion goes off. Here's Matt Sydal with his girlfriend Lizzie Valentine. His opponent is Jack Evans. He looks like such a goon. He starts doing parkour. The commentary team are joined by Black Label Society. I don't know who they are, not my sort of music. The match starts off with a kick. Sydal quickly dumps Evans out the ring and Sydal hits a huge dive out the ring. Back in the ring, we really aren't hanging around. Jack Evans hits a big cartwheel into a back elbow. He tries to follow up with a springboard, but Sydal counters it with a spin kick. That's a 2 count. Sydal puts on a submission, but Jack Evans quickly makes the ropes. Evans hits a bunch of kicks now, which sends Sydal backwards and out of the ring. Evans does some more gymnastics, followed by a dive. Because of the editing, it's almost constant moves that we're seeing. We come back to the ring with Sydal getting a 2 on a pump handle driver. He gets another 2 straight after. Sydal's valet, Lizzie Valentine, starts getting involved and she's dragged into the ring. Evans runs off her back and hits a tornado DDT. Then he wins with a 630 splash. Evans is now flirting with Lizzie Valentine and she possibly seems available. So the question is, how do I feel after this opening match? Well, it was so fast, but it certainly wasn't boring. So many moves in 3 minutes. Wrestling Society X might be a perfect show for someone with ADD. Now we cut to a backstage interview of Justin Incredible. He looks like a character from Road Rash on the PS1. He says tonight is his night. It's pretty much quick cuts to all the wrestlers involved in the Rumble. Hey look, it's New Jack. The crazy bold man is back now, sprinting around the ring screaming it's time for something completely different. Justin Incredible is the first man out. He's drawn unlucky number 1. Entrant number 2 is Teddy Hart. There seems to be a lot of controversial characters on this show. They throw bottles at each other before the match has even started. The cameraman struggles to keep up with Teddy Hart. He does some pointless gymnastics so Credible super kicks him. Hart replies with a springboard moonsault. The third entrant is Chaos, who is an ex-PW wrestler. Hart takes him out of a painful looking DDT. Credible and Hart work together now to hit a shooting star backbreaker combination. The next man out is Vampiro. He has a big size advantage and puts it to good use. He boots everyone down and he chokeslams Teddy Hart. We come back from the break where we see that Puma entered and was eliminated within seconds by Vamp. Also a man called Alcatraz joined the match. X-Pac is here now, he's going as 6-pack. He hits X-Factors on everyone. Chris Hamrick comes out to the ring but New Jack chases him into the ring for some reason. New Jack throws Hamrick onto the ring apron. Jack quickly eliminates him from the match and sends him for a table. Now there's a bunch of confusion over whether or not New Jack's been eliminated despite him going through the middle rope and it wasn't his turn to enter. Suddenly a wild Jack Nuts appears. He smacks the ref over the head with the guitar. He's annoyed because he's been told he's lost the match. Chaos is getting destroyed in there. Nobody seems to like him. He looks like a tan version of Steve-O from Jackass. We cut to the other side of the arena where New Jack has Hamrick set up on a table. We quickly cut back to the ring where Chaos has been back suplexed into an electric box. No time for that though, as New Jack dives off a shipping container with an elbow. Teddy Hart hits a diving DDT on Vampiro. These two seem to be dominating. Our next man out is called Youth Suicide. Apparently it's his first ever professional match. Justin Incredible throws Hart out the ring and through a table. For some reason the ladder aspect to the match is now in play. These ladders are massive. Youth Suicide starts climbing, but Vampiro stops him and powerbombs him on some tacks. X-Pac has claimed one of the contracts, so he's in next show's main event. Youth Suicide is up the ladder again, but Credible pushes the ladder over as we get a huge explosion with added graphics. We are down to the last two guys who climb up the ladder at the same time. Six distracts Credible and Vampiro gets the other contract. The show literally ends straight away. I can certainly see how having only 30 minutes to run a wrestling show is a problem. There's no time for anything to breathe. I didn't have time to process anything that just happened. Honestly, the explosions didn't really bother me. They looked a bit hokey, but who cares? What would have been nice would be camera shots to show the explosion effects on these wrestlers, but none of them are ever shown again on this episode, so I guess we'll have to wait and see if they're dead. Before we move on to episode 2, it's time for a segment, because I just love segments. It's time for yet another Taz Factoid.
I got a factoid for both you guys. I got a boil on my ass.
The opening episode of Wrestling Society X drew a 1.0, which is pretty much what TNA would consistently get. So not a bad start for a brand new show. So don't you dare say no. So let's check out episode 2 of this batshit crazy show. The guest commentator this week is 3-6 Mafia. They're here to help cool the show apparently. Somebody's gonna get it. The bold cocaine fiend does the same gag about setting the world on fire, and then the ring explodes. Apparently this first match will have a 1 hour time limit. Not sure how that's possible on a 30-minute show. The first man out is called Luke Hawks. When he meets your girl, she squawks. He was one of the men that crashed into the electricity box on the Rumble, so I'm glad he's not dead. He will face the Human Tornado. He looks like one of the bananas in pyjamas. We start with a lockup, but Tornado starts doing a wave instead. Hawk drops him on his nutsack with the atomic drop, which Tornado no-sells. He then runs into a T-bone, which he does sell. Luke Hawks hits a rolling kick for a 2 count. Tornado's alright now and he leg scissors Hawk out the ring. Shades of ECW now as Tornado dives from the ring out past the crowd barrier. They're back in the ring by the time I typed out that sentence. They keep reversing Irish whips until Tornado hits a springboard Tornado DDT for the 3. A man called Aaron Aguilar is now here beating up Hawks. He was previously in the WWE, you might recognise him from his brief feud with John Cena. A big fight takes place in the ring between the Electric Box crew. Aaron Aguilar looks like one of those Los Barriquas. It all ends with Steve-O crashing through a table, so I guess he's the Jeff Hardy risk taker in Wrestling Society X. Aaron Aguilar is supposed to be his partner, and he's annoyed when he sees that he's been put through a table. Promo now with Teddy Hart and Matt Cross. They are a tag team called Filth and Fury. They're issuing an open challenge next week. Instead of them, we get a tag team match between everybody's favourite Joey Ryan and Disco Machine. They are that 70s team. Yeah, where's Mike Awesome? You might think this is going to be a joke match, and you'd be right. They're taking on Team Dragon Gate, Hiraguchi and Yoshino. They were considered a pretty good get for Wrestling Society X at the time. Hiraguchi looks like he left his hairline back in Japan. Ryan has a lot of hair in 2007. We have chain wrestling for the first time in Wrestling Society X. Both the partners are tagged in. Yoshino hits a running dropkick. Disco Machine dumps in his nappy and tags Ryan in. It doesn't go any better for Ryan, who completely misses his dropkick. Joey Ryan now has an inhaler, so it's a joke match. Disco Machine thrusts at Team Dragon Gate, who don't like it, so they hit a drop toe hold into a drop kick for a 2 count. Disco Machine suddenly gets a 2 count on a thrusting elbow. Now Team Dragon Gate expose Joey Ryan's ass. Yoshino hits him with a net breaker, unfortunately that's just a 2. Ryan pulls his knickers up and he almost wins with a Total World Slam. Then he does win it with a super kick. It wasn't worth leaving Japan for this. Horrible match. The Dragon Gate guys are bad losers, so they smash the disco ball. This was the highlight of the match. Pre-tape segment with a hillbilly now. He is managing his 2 hillbilly sons. One says he's going to be the heavyweight champion of being a drunk. There's not many people who look like they have anything close to a wrestling physique on this show. Just the main event to crown the first ever Wrestling Society X champion now. It's X-Pac versus Vampiro. I just need to point out here how disappointed I am that 3-6 Mafia had said literally nothing on commentary. They've probably left. Vampiro looks like a rejected member of the Aces and Eights here. Whoa, I was wrong. 3-6 Mafia in the house. They contribute to the show by saying, "That's one big white dude you don't want to meet in an alley." Thanks for coming, guys. Match starts with a shove-off. Pac spits water in Vampiro's face and hits the spinning heel kick. Vampiro comes back with a headbutt and a spin kick. We get the least X-Pac move of all time now. He hits a powerbomb. Bronco Buster. I've watched too much of Pac recently. Vampiro climbs back to his feet and hits a big boot and a choke slam. He unfortunately misses his corkscrew moonsault. Pac sends him out the ring and hits a dive on Vampiro. Apparently this match is Falls Count Anywhere, but I never heard them announce that. Pac gets a 2 on the outside. Quickly we get to see Pac being thrown into the ring pole, nutsack first. A fight takes place on the ring apron now, ending with Pac hitting a tornado DDT through a table. That's just a 2. The commentary team suddenly decide to inform us that Wrestling Society X has rules that you can be pinned anywhere in the arena. Would have been nice to have known that sooner. X-Pac almost wins again with the X Factor. They start fighting near a coffin. Vamp hits a smack to the slash zone and a tombstone piledriver into the coffin. It then explodes. The ref counts 3, although I don't know how they can tell who's pinning who. The winner is Vampiro and he's the first ever WSX champion. The second show really drove it home for me. What's the point in doing wrestling moves if you can't see the effect they have? The cuts make it look like people are back up on their feet straight after taking a move. The cuts also make it look like it's just a bunch of random moves edited together. Thank you to 36 Mafia for that insightful one-liner though, I'm sure the commentary team couldn't have managed without you. Episode 3 starts with Vampiro who sat alone in a 4-cornered room staring at the candles. He says the WSX title is his life. He will make any sacrifices he needs to just to keep the belt. More of this please, it was honestly the best thing on the 3 shows. Today's musicians are Sparta, who I've also never heard of, but at least they look excited to be here. The ring explodes to start the show. This will be a tag team match. It's the Hillbillies from the last episode. They are appropriately named the Trailer Park Boys. Their opponents are Matt Cross and Teddy Hart. Why is their music Adrenaline Rush, the old TNA music? It needs to be shoved, it needs to be shoved, man. It needs to be shoved, it needs to be shoved, man. It needs to be shoved, it needs to be shoved, man. It needs to be shoved, it needs to be shoved, man. Sparta are actually wrestling fans and they talk about Bret Hart and the Ultimate Warrior. Matt Cross hits a split leg moonsault for a 2 count. Cross then drops Nate Webb on his face. Teddy Hart takes out the other hillbilly with the cradle DDT. He also hits an incredible SIE moonsault to the outside of the ring. Cross doesn't want to be outdone and he also hits a dive. This is by far the hardest match to keep up with. Teddy Hart can't hit his next dive because the hillbilly gets his knees up. They hit double kicks in the corner. I give up trying to keep track of this. It's moving too quick. Teddy Hart now has an electric cable and he shocks the hillbilly in the gut. Now he tips water on him on a table. And then the whole room explodes. Teddy Hart hits the open heart surgery off the shipping container through a table. And Matt Cross does a shooting star leg drop. It's over. What was the point in doing all these crazy moves as they cut away from it milliseconds later? Now 2 guys argue about last week. Steve-O is angry that his partner never seems to have his back. His partner offers him a beer but he doesn't want it. They agree to take out another team in a TLB match tonight. What's a TLB match you say? Tables, ladders and beers. Sparta look like twins. A singles match now is... God, talk about bad physiques. It's some fake luchador and he faces Jack Evans. He tries to do breakdancing for his entrance but the luchador kicks him down. The luchador also hits a springboard clothesline. Seconds later they're fighting on the outside of the ring. Now they're back in the ring. The luchador kicks Evans in the face. He gets a 2 on Evans from a fisherman's buster. Jack finally does something. He springs off the ropes and hits a back elbow. Jack Evans does lose his hat but he hits some more strikes. Evans drags the luchador into the corner and then he hits the 630 splash and he wins. We get a hype package now for a fake Patriot. He's all about wrestling and doesn't like flip dives. The comedy team think it's funny that he lifts weight at the gym. Someone smack these guys in the gut. Bold Boy McBoldpants Bullhead Corgan on cocaine is here to hype up the main event. It's Luke Hawx and Alcatraz. Apparently Alcatraz has spent time in almost every jail in America. Can't tell if this is a gimmick or not. They take on Steve-O and Aaron Aguilar. No idea who we're meant to be cheering for here. 3 seconds in and the ladder is already involved. We get a seesaw spot with the ladder now. It takes out both Aguilar's opponents. Steve-O hits the cradle driver on Hawx. The 2 partners start fighting now because Aguilar wants his partner to climb the ladder. He does it, but Aguilar's too busy giving ladies at ringside the snake eye. Steve-O misses his moonsault. The Bold team are now winning, for now. Alcatraz tries to go old school ending with a DDT, but it gets reversed and he's suplexed onto a ladder. Steve-O hits a big spiked powerbomb. It looks like it fucked the guy's neck up for real. They grab beers now, but it's really stupid and Luke Hawx gives him a face buster into the beer bottles. Alcatraz powerbombs Steve-O for a table and that's the 3. Why are the commentary team eating sandwiches as quickly as possible as the show ends? How amateur, what the fuck? They were not sponsored by Subway. There was no reason for this. That's as good a time as any to leave this video. I think I've made my thoughts clear, it's just too much crammed into 30 minutes. They're trying to have all these hard hitting matches with consequences, but the consequences don't have time to play out. I guess this would be okay to have on in the background if you weren't really needing to concentrate, but it's hard to get invested in. It's not bad, it's just incredibly rushed. Let me know what you thought, and also let me know if you would like me to cover the rest of it. There's only about 7 more episodes left, and if you don't agree with that, I'll make you take your last breath.